VGMP.
Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new episode of VGMP DLC, where we do smaller editions of our weekly VGMP episode, reviewing series and shorts, things that don't warrant a full-length episode. And today, it is my pleasure...
Is that the word?
...to announce to you that all is well in the world, that everything is consistent, because Sega have done it again. Started off promising, and then fucked it.
Now, just so you're aware, Jamie...
Fucked it.
Yes, just so you're aware, last week, the audience will have heard the finale of Fallout, which is episodes 7 and 8. And now they'll be hearing the finales of episodes 5 and 6 of Knuckles.
I'm really sorry, guys, that you're going to hear us complain for 2 weeks in a row. Go on, what's the full episode between those two? Please tell me it's like Resident Evil or some shit. Go on.
Legend of Zelda.
Basically, this has become the Two Fat Guys Moan About Things podcast.
But to be fair, that was a retro episode from 2021.
Yeah.
So it's not us moaning in the present day.
Just proves how long we've been moaning.
That's true.
So today we're talking about the final two episodes, episode 5 and 6, of Paramount Plus's Knuckles series, a spin-off from their popular Sonic the Hedgehog movies. And... It is disappointing, because those of you who remember a few weeks ago, we were so positive after the first two episodes. We were really, we were like, this is a great start.
Episodes 1 and 2 were brilliant.
Yeah.
Can we go back to just watching episodes 1 and 2, Jamie?
Then we got a little wobble with episode 3. We were a bit like, well, this feels like it doesn't need to be here, but maybe we'll be fine.
But episode 4 did... keep us, we're there's 2 more episodes left. We're 2/3 of the way through. 3 great episodes out of 4. Not a bad, 75% hit rate.
5 and 6 are not good.
No, they're not.
Because basically, we can now look at the series as a whole, and what becomes clear, and this is a complaint that you probably hear us make about a lot of modern things, and you probably are fed up of hearing it, because I know a lot of people on like YouTube and things make the same complaint. Modern writers... just don't fucking know how to pace anything.
Yeah.
This is paced so badly. Right, so Jack Sinclair, right? Gone by episode 4.
I said, didn't I? I'd hope he comes back for the end, and you're like, it's hard to come back from him going, don't look at me. But you know what? The actor was charismatic.
And he had a fucking name.
He had a name, he had an arc, and you know what? I would have... honestly, it would have been a better series if he had come back.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can understand him not returning after being so badly humiliated, right? Fine. I was okay with that. The problem is, we've got the big bad villain, who we've only seen in episode 1 previously, who does return again in episode 5 and 6... who, as you say, has literally not got a name.
Yeah, we literally finished the series, they defeat the villain. I turned to Rory and said, do we even know this guy's name yet? And both of us were like, I don't remember ever in it. And then I looked it up. He's literally just called The Buyer.
Yeah, the biggest villain of the actual series, and he's not got a name.
All that stuff where they're all talking in hushed tones, you don't want to fuck with this guy, we're screwed if we've betrayed him, blah, blah, blah.
I don't want to screw over The Buyer.
We don't know anything about him.
No.
His death is completely spoiler alert, is completely unceremonious.
Yeah.
Knuckles doesn't sit for 1 second and think about the fact he's just killed a person.
Well, he probably won't be dead. I don't know. Well, the closest we get is... we did get in episode 5, he explains to the 2 gun henchmen that he used to work for Robotnik, and we were like, oh, Gerald Robotnik, because this is an older guy. And he was like, no, it is the Jim Carrey Robotnik. And I was like, just make this Agent Stone then.
Yeah.
Why isn't this Stone? Like, if this was Agent Stone, A, he'd have a fucking name. B, he would have had a character personality trait that we could have gone, oh, okay, this is what he is to Knuckles. Because Stone met Knuckles.
Yeah, maybe he's too busy doing some reconnaissance.
Now you're with the puns, my
I'm just
friend.
quoting, I'm not making the pun.
That is true.
I'm just quoting the film itself. Reconnaissance!
But at least he would have had some background with Knuckles.
Yeah.
For that finale to have some merit. Yeah. But even then, as you say, the finale between The Buyer and Knuckles happens literally within the last 10 minutes of the final episode.
Yeah. Let's
And that 10 minutes includes the end credits.
Yeah. I'm gonna just... rather than go through the episodes, which we will do in a minute, I think
Yeah.
it's important that we start with the main number one problem of this show, which is that this show is false advertising. This is not a Knuckles TV series.
Not at all.
After episode 2, Knuckles is irrelevant.
Yeah.
He has no arc at all. Now, that's probably them trying to save budget so they don't have to fucking animate him half the time.
Yeah.
But for real, right, Jack Sinclair, his arc is with Wade, right?
Yep.
Even the buyer, whose entire... He is meant to be Knuckles' antagonist, right? 99% of the fight is done by Wade.
Yep.
And then Knuckles turns up at the end, suddenly gets flaming fists of fury, and fucking annihilates him like it's nothing. Like, honestly, like a knife through butter, he just chops this machine's arms off.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not faulting any of the actors here, especially not Adam Pally. If this had been a show about a man whose bowling-obsessed father betrayed him and he enters a bowling tournament and plays against him, I'd probably be fine with this as an okay sort of movie or miniseries, right?
Yeah.
Because I'd have known what I was getting into.
Clearly they cared more about that than the Knuckles storyline.
Yeah, do not call it Knuckles. Do not give me those first two episodes
Yeah.
that set this up as a Knuckles series.
This is
And
two
then
films
there's
lobbed together, isn't it? This is the concept of a Knuckles miniseries smushed in with some docu-comedy
Yeah.
about, or maybe not even a docu, but like a dramedy of some twat trying to learn about his father.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing as well. So in episodes 5 and 6, we are introduced to Wade's dad, who essentially is the main villain now.
Played by Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, who does a great job.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
But his character's not big enough to be the main villain.
Yeah.
Like, he's the main villain to Wade's emotional arc.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
And that was working. That was paying off.
Yeah.
Then when they suddenly tried to cross the stories over, that feels awkward and crowbarred in.
Very.
And then even worse is when I knew we were in trouble when we got to the finale and we were about halfway through the final episode. Remember, they're only 30 minutes, right?
Yep.
Including credits.
Yeah, so we're 10 to 15 minutes in.
We were 15 minutes in, and it was like, all we've done so far is this fucking final bowling match.
Yeah.
The fact we are still in a final bowling
buyer
match,
hadn't appeared yet.
The main villain hasn't turned up yet. We still don't know his name. We don't know what his plan is.
Yep.
He then turns up, and it turns out his entire plan is just a cheap Wish.com Eggman plan. Oh, I've built a big robot, and I'm going to steal Knuckles' power.
Yep.
It's just Robotnik.
Yep.
It's Robotnik, but swap Sonic for Knuckles. Like, it just... Rory McCann deserved better.
He did. Very much. He's really intimidating in the part.
Yeah.
I believe him in the role. Yeah. I just wish there was more of a role for him to be doing.
Yeah, he deserves better. Even Idris Elba deserves better than this.
Yeah, I mean...
I know I'm not a big Idris Elba fan.
He's not in it very much.
Honestly, I'm telling you now, that man did not even go to a recording studio. They took some fucking equipment to his house, and he sat there in his bathrobe and
for an afternoon.
It.
Yeah, because we said this, episode 3, he doesn't have a lot of lines, because it's mostly the family bickering. Episode 4, he's absent for most of it.
Yeah, he's literally... I bet his total screen time in that episode is 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's also absent for most of 5, because the actual time he gets used again really is 6, when he saves Wade's family from the henchman, and then has the fight with Wish.com Eggman.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you're like, well... The thing is, the beginning of the series, what Knuckles' arc was set up as, was that, you know, he's so fixated on the warrior mindset that he causes devastation to the people he cares about, either by accident or just by the fact that he's a single-minded twat. And he should have become more open and understanding over the course of the series. That doesn't happen. Instead, by episode 3, they flip it to, instead of him having to learn anything, he just needs to get comfortable calling Earth home, which by the end he then goes, "This is my home!" Oh, great. Knuckles is resolved then. You're like, but nothing earned that.
No.
There's no... I knew we were in trouble at the end of episode 4, which I liked. Episode 4 is still a good episode. In fact, a great episode. The problem is when it got to the point they're driving to Reno, and then you get that shot of Wanda and Wendy Whipple in the van following them, I was like, oh, okay, so they're still in it.
Yeah, they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't have been in it. So now they're back in it because they're the emotional crutch, but he should have learned that his father was a dick by himself. They're not necessary.
You definitely don't need Wanda.
No.
Even if you kept Wendy,
Yeah.
Wanda adds literally nothing.
She actually minuses.
Not the actress's fault.
No.
None of that character's lines are funny. They're meant to be. None of them are.
Again, you're right. This is a problem with pacing in modern writing, and Knuckles falls foul of it. Act 1 is brilliant, which is episodes 1 and 2. Act 2 has some failings, but it's okay. Act 3 is your finale. Act 3 sucks. They don't know how to finish the arc, because they've got too many characters, most of which are unimportant.
Yeah.
Now, in a 6-episode, half an hour each run, you've got 3 hours to tell an entire series story. Yet, they waste time and don't have enough of it simultaneously.
I know.
Delete episode 3, make episode 4 episode 3, certainly don't take Wanda, but you don't really need Wendy either, but certainly don't take Wanda to Reno, just have Wendy go with Susie, the little girl in the championship, who barely does any bowling because it's just Wade and his dad. So that the whole point that they need a whole team as well is pointless in the end.
I think the way I can sum this up...
Because Susie doesn't throw a single ball in the finale.
No.
So it's like, well, why is she even in the tournament then?
I know. It's very... I think the way I can sum it up is Knuckles gets off to a good start, but by the end has failed to justify its existence.
Yep.
Because I can tell you now, Joe, I'm going to put money on this. Sonic 3 is going to come out at the end of this year.
And they'll do a season 2.
Is it the end of this year or is it next year?
It's December 2024.
End of this year, Sonic 3 is going to come out. Not one single element from this show will be relevant in Sonic 3. Stockard Channing ain't going to be in Sonic 3, right?
No.
Maybe Adam Pally will, right? Maybe.
Because he was at least in the first one, and I think for a brief scene in the second.
Yeah.
But none of this story arc's going to come over.
Nothing else is going to be mentioned, meaning this has been a waste of time.
Yeah. Knuckles is no different at the end than he was at the beginning.
Yeah.
So if you run from Sonic 2 into Sonic 3, you've had no development either.
He should have had an arc, and we should have had the set. I'm not saying fucking have Robotnik in the show, fine. We should have had some setup, some more clues about Project Shadow, or Gerald Robotnik hinted at, something like that.
Yep.
Just a small thing to make this feel like it is part of this fucking universe. After episode 1, when Sonic and Tails don't turn up again...
That's it.
I mean, Knuckles don't even mention them. No. Like, it's...
Yeah, Sonic and Tails don't reappear. Neither does...
Maddie.
Maddie doesn't reappear. In fact, basically, the only characters from the films, from episode 2 onwards... are Adam Pally and Knuckles. And as we say, Knuckles may as well not be in it. Yeah. So realistically, it's just Adam Pally's character. Now, Adam Pally does a really good job in this. With his comedy's on point. I can understand why they couldn't sell it that way. You know what? I was happy at the end of episode 4 when, as they go into Reno and you see Adam Pally and Knuckles on the motorbike. And at the spoiler alert, but after the entire 6th episode, there is like a post-credit sequence, but it doesn't set up anything. It's just them riding back home to Green Hills, and Knuckles going, "This is my jam," because he finds a song that he really likes. Ends up being the credits theme. That's fine. That scene is fine. I saw that and I was like, "Oh, that's what this should have been." Episode 4 should have been episode 3. Just delete episode 3, and then. Episode 4 should have been a buddy cop, not buddy cop, a buddy duo thing, where they go on the journey to Reno, and it's them on the bike on the journey getting into shit on the way. And then episode 5, and the other thing you need to do as well is curtail the bowling tournament to episode 5.
Yeah, we don't need 2 episodes of bowling.
Now, there was one thing that we were both excited and like, what the fuck? Because we mentioned it in a previous episode. We did not know this was coming. We legit didn't know this. When they introduced the bowling thing, it's on ESPN 8, The Ocho. Yeah. Now, we mentioned that because we both love dodgeball. We mentioned it, I think, in this episode 3 and 4.
I think so, yeah.
Cracked
a joke about it,
Yeah, we made a joke about it, The Ocho. And we genuinely didn't know that that's actually a thing. It started in 2017 based on the fact that it was a joke in dodgeball, and they brought it back. Now, that's cool. A, I've learned something, and B, yes, if I was working in ESPN, I'd make the goddamn Ocho. The problem with the showcase of the Ocho in this versus its appearance in dodgeball is in dodgeball, both the commentators had different personalities that were immediately evident. Yeah. You had Cotton McKnight, who was just standing, hey, so we're here at the Ocho doing this blah, 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 blah. And you had Jason Bateman, character, who I can never remember the damn name of.
Neither can I.
It's really annoying, isn't it? He is basically a complete dumbass, but sort of like, yeah, dude, yeah. And so you get this complete contrast between the two of them. They haven't even got any balls, Cotton. In Knuckles, the two guys, they're not bad actors, they're not doing the part badly. The issue is they're both playing the same part.
Yeah.
They're both the Cotton McKnight character. But unfortunately, having two Cotton McKnights is not better than having one Cotton McKnight.
No, I agree.
As you say, with wrestling, you have the play-by-play commentator and the flavour commentator, or colour commentator, sorry. So the reason for that is if you had two play-by-play commentators, you've just got two commentators doing the same thing.
Jason Bateman's character in Dodgeball, by the way, is called Pepper Brooks.
Pepper Brooks, there you go. I wish that those two had been contrasting. One of those actors needed to, and again, this is probably more of the script, not the actors, but one of those actors needed to basically go, I'll play the dumbass.
Yeah.
And neither of them do.
No.
They've even both got the same voice. They're both doing the, hey, so you're right there now. We're going back to the game.
Yeah.
They're both doing the exact same voice.
Yeah, if you weren't seeing them on screen, you'd think it was one person just talking to themselves.
Yeah, like, now that might be a more interesting fucking commentator team.
I can't express how disappointed I am with the direction this series took after how good the first two episodes were. And it's a real shame.
My bubble is so burst.
It's a real shame because all of the actors in it are doing the best they can. There was a lot of really good comedy in the early part of the season.
Yeah.
And it just feels almost like after the sort of, in the back end of it, it's like, what are we doing? We're just wasting time.
The comedy just deflated out of it. Now, some of the drama landed between Wade and his dad. Some of that drama landed. But that was dragged on for too long.
Yeah. It's not the show I'm trying to watch.
No, and also
I'm trying to watch Knuckles.
Yeah, now here's the thing. Episode 4, it was basically a Wade-only story. We said that. Knuckles is almost not in the episode. That's fine, because it's Wade, the sidekick, learning something about himself so that he can be a better sidekick in following episodes.
Yeah, it'd be fine if it was one episode.
Yeah, and again, like with the dad that's why I think you should have had episode 4 as episode 3. Episode 5 stays as episode 5, but the entire bowling tournament is that, so Wade can learn another journey story, and then episode 4 becomes the ride there on the bike, because I'd love to have seen more of them on the bike, and more of that road journey.
Yeah.
And episode 6 was all about Knuckles and his villain.
Yeah.
That would have been a better pacing. You eliminate episode 3. I have a sneaking suspicion that they didn't eliminate episode 3, even though it's fucking obvious from a script level that episode 3 needs to go. And the reason they didn't do it is because essentially someone there had a wanky fan fiction thing. Went, but what if it was like my childhood?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, get your fucking ego out of it. Cut the script. Cut that episode out and write a better script.
Yeah.
Because that one, honestly, I cannot fathom how that made it through. I'm severely disappointed in the fact that this series seemed to have an impossible task ahead of it.
Yeah.
Which was to establish why Sonic should be, from the big screen going down to a TV show, why it should be led by Knuckles and not the Sonic main cast, and why we should be following dumbass idiot side character Adam Pally's character, Wade. And in the first 2 episodes, they nail it. Yeah. They go, this is why. This is funny, this is your story, this is your pace, this is your reason, these are your stakes. Bam. And it all works perfectly. And then by the time you get to episode 6, you're like, Why was I here again?
Maybe we're the idiots for expecting something based on Sonic the Hedgehog to have a good story.
But that's my point. If it had been shit the whole way through, I'd be less annoyed.
Oh, no.
Because at least then I'd be like, yeah, well, obviously the idea was garbage.
Yeah.
But the idea wasn't garbage. They proved the idea worked and then set about ruining it.
Yeah. I mean, the Jesse and James type characters,
Yep.
they disappear. They just disappear. They get sucked through. They open 2 rings up, the ring portals.
Yep.
They open 2 of those. All of a sudden, they act like black holes. They've never done that before, ever.
Yeah.
Usually, they just sit there until you choose to go through them. All of a sudden, they've got a fucking vacuum effect on them.
Yeah.
And they get sucked.
But they're also connected to each other, like the portals in the game Portal.
Yeah.
Because she gets sucked into one, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And he's like, haha, the dumb bitch. I don't know why Sonny hates her. And then she comes out the other portal, smacks him, and they both fall into the portal.
Yeah.
Then the rings sort of, for some reason, pull each other together and disappear.
Yeah.
So, like, they're sealed in some unknown parallel universe thing.
Every villain in this, with the possible exception of Jack Sinclair,
Yep.
just has the worst resolution to their arcs.
Yeah, Jack Sinclair's the only one which makes any sense.
The 2 agents just disappear, completely disappear. And the buyer, we don't even get a name for him. It's so... Honestly, like, if you haven't seen it, I can't even find the words to explain how deflating it is the way that's all wrapped up. Because Rory McCann's doing a great performance being villainous and evil and whatnot. And then you're relegated to what is essentially a scene of... You get one cool bit where he's like whipping Knuckles around Reno, which is cool. And then Knuckles is just unconscious. And Adam Pally sort of stands there while Rory McCann's being intimidating, saying some sort of fucking monologue.
He's monologuing,
about everything he's learned, because, we have to spell it out for the fucking audience these days.
Yep.
Knuckles wakes up, having been revived by the power of friendship. His fucking fists set on fire.
Yep.
And
even though the enemy's supposedly taken all of his power.
I know, I thought that too, my friend. Then he just sort of literally, one punch lops an arm off, another punch lops another arm off, and then he fucking grabs a giant... I'm swearing too much.
So there's
a big
giant
dome thing off the roof of a building.
Yep.
And
slams it on top of the robot.
Yeah.
And we don't even see the robot get destroyed. It just is covered by the ball, and you assume the enemy is vanquished.
Yeah.
They don't see him get arrested. You don't see Gunn come along and take him away.
They didn't even bother to give him a name, so why would they bother to wrap up his story?
Unless they're maybe setting him up here in case Jim Carrey goes, right, well, I'm doing 3 and done, and then they can bring him in as new Robotnik. But
no one will care now because he was defeated so easily by Knuckles.
Because he was defeated just by Knuckles, and he doesn't have a name.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit there and go, you know what, I want to watch Sonic 4, and I want to see Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles go head-to-head against the buyer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I'm not going to say any more because it's just going to be us moaning in circles.
Yeah.
I'm trying very quickly to think of anything positive I can say, and there's honestly hardly anything because it's disappointed me so badly.
Let's talk
that
about...
it's coloured the rest of the series for me now.
Right, I think I can still... I've never been so strong on wanting to re-edit something.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do my own edit of this show so I can keep enjoying it. But it would literally be episode 1, 2, 4, and then a couple of elements from 5 and 6 to wrap up the story as consistently as possible. However, nothing I can do can add. I can only remove stuff that's already in the show. So that means that the shitty ending is still going to be shitty. I can't fix it.
Yeah.
But I could... I'd actually still be happy just ending it with him having defeated Jack and found like, oh, I have actually got the inner strength myself. And then as they're riding to Reno, cut out the bit where his mum and sister are following him. And then just have the post-credit scene from... episode 6 where he goes, this is my jam, and that's the end of my 3-episode series version of Knuckles. And you know what, better show to end it there than show anything from episodes 5 and 6
yeah,
or anything from episode 3. I'll just nix it. I want to give a shout out to Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, because he does fine with what he's given. The dramatic scenes he does really well. He's charismatic, because Carrie Elwes is charismatic. He's quite funny in his performance. Unfortunately, the script doesn't give him enough to make him laugh out loud funny. But there's a few moments where he really pulls some comedy out of it. And he also manages to sell the gravitas of, being this charismatic guy that manages to manipulate people into doing what he wants. Like he starts to manipulate Wade in episode 5. It's like, no, I've made the biggest mistake of my life, but not actually committing to it.
Yeah.
And his betrayal of his son and things like that is quite well done. But it's mostly that line where he's bullshitting Wade, but you understand why Wade would believe the bullshit. That's all very well done. However, in episode 6, when it comes down to like the final part of the bowling tournament, because he's now the villain, he's now just a caricature, which isn't his fault. The script doesn't give him anything else as a third dimension, and he just seems consistent, like, I'm going to destroy you, so fuck you. And then he's just some coward guy, and I'm like, well, he's not even playing the dad anymore. There's no emotional tension between him and Wade. It's popped by the fact that the betrayal happens in a hotel room. It doesn't happen in the lanes. Then it humiliates Wade publicly as well.
The series doesn't know what it's doing.
No.
Even the bit where, like, they try and force Adam Pally into this situation where he's got to choose between Knuckles and his family. Great. That's a great setup. It gives us lots of drama. The next episode immediately deflates that tension by just having him outsmart them, and he's worked out a way to warn Knuckles and get Knuckles to help him.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel earned.
You know that I am not a fan, as no creator is, I don't think, of studio interference.
No.
But how in the blue hell did, in the multiple layers of approval that getting a show like this made goes through, all the people who must have set eyes on these scripts before they got to the filming stage, how did no one sit there and go, well, hang on, the villain is a nobody, Knuckles has no arc, and this thing just deflates the tension the minute it's
Why does the villain not have a name?
Unless it is that thing, isn't it? It's that, oh man, I mean, this is a whole other conversation.
Is it not studio interference is just for what will look good on social media, and they don't care about quality?
This is what I was about to say. I hate to say it, and it's not really a conversation for this time, but there is this, it's known now, we know it as a factual thing, writers have come out and said it, studios, Disney in particular, although I bet Paramount are doing it, are now telling writers to write shows with the intention of being a second screen show. So you sit with it on, but you're on your phone, fiddling with your phone, and just keep it interesting enough that you don't turn it off.
And that the characters don't change enough so that when you look up from whatever your primary screen is doing, you're not like, what's happening now? I don't understand it.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
haven't missed anything.
It's still Knuckles being Knuckles.
and we know for a fact that is happening, and to be honest, this feels a bit like that.
Yeah.
I just, the disparity between those first 2 episodes and the rest of it blows my mind.
Yeah, can you think of any worse lines that happens throughout this series?
Oh, I should have written some down.
There's bits that don't work, like in episode 1, when Willoughby says, of course we're here for Knuckles' pal. That's the whole point of why we're here. But that's not really like a worse line material. That's just utilising bathos in the wrong space and people being bored of it as a comedy thing. Almost every line from the sister is a bad line.
Yeah, we noticed quite a few problems with eye line matching as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which, fair play to them, like, it must be incredibly difficult trying to act against a thing that doesn't actually exist on the set with you at the time.
Yeah.
That must be so hard. But my God, this is bear in mind, we've had CGI characters for a while now. It's not a new invention.
No.
And
it's just a green ball on a stick.
Yeah. This is some of the most egregious non-eyeline matching I've ever seen.
Yeah. There were some nice nods to the original show. I like the fact that the hat that Knuckles steals from Jack is like the hat he had in the Sonic OVA movie from 1996. That was cool. There's a few things where we see Tails' bed is basically the tornado by any other name. There's a few little nods, but they're mostly in the first couple of episodes. Obviously, Ice Cap as a ski resort is another nod, but they disappear quite quickly. I can't think of anything that was a direct reference in from episode 3 onwards. Basically, that was more of a reference to the games again, other than the entire dance sequence in episode 4.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a lot of references in there. Okay, so Jamie, would you recommend, half recommend, or not recommend this show?
The nice thing to do would probably be to half recommend it, because the first 2 episodes are good. Yep. The problem is, I'm currently so angry at how much of my time, my limited free time, this has wasted.
Yeah.
And realistically, I'm not sure I can, because how can you recommend something to someone and with a straight face go, well, it starts great, but the ending's garbage, so don't get invested?
That is a good point.
So actually, do you know what? No, fuck them.
Yeah.
I said no. I'm kidding. Please distribute our films, Paramount. No, it's a no from me, dog. I'm sorry. The first 2 episodes are good, but I cannot, in good conscience, recommend it, knowing that it's not a Knuckles series. It's not about him. He basically, after episode 2, and definitely after episode 3, he basically isn't in the show anymore.
Yeah. See, I really want to half recommend, because episode 1, 2, and 4 are so good.
They just honestly...
but again, you are right. I'd basically be recommending you watch half the show and ignore the other 3 episodes completely, because they're just not worth anyone's time. And is that a recommendation? Having said that, I did half recommend The Last of Us, and I did think, other than episode 3 of The Last of Us, that this was more successful as a show at hitting what it was after in the 3 episodes I liked. If I could half recommend Last of Us, I can half recommend this.
Yeah.
But it would honestly, do yourselves a favour, watch episodes 1, 2, 4, and just consider that Wade's arc redeemed, because there is no redemption arc for Knuckles anyway. No. He has no arc, so watching episodes 5 and 6 won't give you anyone anyway.
Can we just take a brief pause for the cause to talk about, and this might just be my issue. You might say it's not an issue for you, and people listening to this might turn around and go, what the fuck's this guy talking about? He doesn't know what we want, blah, blah, blah. And that's true. I'm speaking purely here about my problem with this franchise and not anyone else's. Agree or disagree. It's fine. It's just my opinion. This Sonic movie franchise, Paramount's Sonic, to be honest, I think they've got 1 film left in them before I'm going to stop watching them.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it needs to not be set in the human world. Yeah. The worst decision I get that the first one was very successful, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But honestly, the worst decision they have made with this franchise is setting it in a real human world. That bit, the episode we've praised in this show, where Adam Pally's running around a fake Green Hill Zone, and it's all puppet work. Great, cool, fun. Why isn't that the show? Yeah. That's what I want to see. I want Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. A few good bits in this is when Knuckles, he does the spin dash and things like that. Yeah. But real-world human geography doesn't allow you to do that a lot. I'm not interested in Knuckles the Echidna walking around a Reno casino, interacting with human people. Yeah. I tell you where I want to see Knuckles. I want to see Knuckles in Casino Night Zone. Yeah. If the Mario movie can be entirely animated, why isn't Sonic?
Yeah, and that's got human characters as standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
No. I understand, because let's be honest. I understand it with the first one. Because the first one, it was like, well, we're going to do Sonic in the human world. It's a one-off, basically. We get Jim Carrey. Let's just see how it goes. It did incredibly well. So they made a second one. Now, the problem with the second one, The second one we still both liked, but they had to try and justify having humans in it, it felt like. Apart from Robotnik, who obviously fits in. But they had to try and justify, why would we have James Marsden in this? Why would we follow him and his wife now that we've got Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik? Why the hell would we follow Donut Lord? So they had to really reach to keep him in it. And it kind of damaged the script and the pacing a little bit with the Bridezilla scene. When it comes to this, again, this would have been the perfect opportunity to go, you know what, we'll do a spin-off series based on Knuckles, because he's not with Sonic and Tails, and Sonic has to live on Earth, according to the story canon of this series, right? So Knuckles can go to somewhere else to try and find out the secrets of his family background or something like that. Fuck it, take Adam Pally with him. Why not? I'll show you where I'm from. You know, I can't call this place home. Why not? Well, because my home was here. I'll show you. Takes Adam Pally to see his home and the devastation and the loneliness of being on the floating island. But now you're on the floating island. And now you can start rolling around traditional Sonic things, but Sonic 3 can still take place on Earth, because Sonic and Tails didn't come with you. Sonic and Tails don't come with them in this anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like people would have gone, well, why isn't Sonic and Tails there? Because they weren't fucking in this series.
Yeah.
So you could have had your cake and eaten it too. Have Knuckles go on an adventure in more traditional Sonic-esque locations. Leave Sonic and Tails on Earth to set up Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Boom. Perfect.
Yeah.
You've done it. But they didn't. They went, we need this back on Earth still. Justify yourself.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I would much rather these films be entirely animated.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Sonic 3, I once they made 2, it was obvious they were going to do a trilogy, because there's no point ending on 2. So, whether or not they do a 4, I'm guessing will depend on
It'll
whether
depend entirely on if 3 makes
money.
Yeah,
but let's say 3 does make money. So let's say it's popular, or at least it's popular enough that it makes its money back.
Yeah.
Will they make a 4? I don't know what you would do with a 4.
Well, obviously I want an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 1, but even that's just what I want. In terms of their storyline,
yeah,
what we need, what the storyline's crying out for, because as you've just said, Sonic can't go back to where he's from because the owls will kill him or something.
Yeah.
That needs resolving.
Yep.
Because you now, whether you've done it accidentally or if you are building to something, I don't know, but you now have 2 of your protagonists whose entire backstory
is connected to the
owls.
Yep. But the owls...
It's not the owls that will kill Sonic, is it?
It's the Echidnas.
The Echidnas. Because we raised this problem in 2.
Yeah.
If all the Echidnas are dead now and there's only Knuckles left...
Why can't Sonic go home?
Why can't Sonic go home? This is my point. Honestly, we're done. That's the end of the episode, everyone. Don't bother watching the show. It's garbage. Hopefully, whatever the next Borderlands is, the next new release, hopefully that'll be better. I don't know. At least I've never played the Borderlands game, so it can't disappoint me the way this garbage
The
has.
only positive spin I can give for this series is that it starts really well. Episodes 1, 2, and 4, really good episodes. 4 is very inventive as well, with the fact that it reduces the CGI and it introduces wire work, really cool costuming, stuff like that. There is a lot to praise. Unfortunately, the series leads and the writers screwed the pooch. You said this while we went off to get some food before we we recorded this episode, and you were 100% right, Jamie, that why is it if you're doing a limited run of 6 episodes that are half an hour long each, you don't just have 1, maybe 2 writers? Why do you need 4, 5, maybe 6 writers?
Yeah.
Like, there's no consistency.
Yeah.
Because, again, 1 and 2, they're written by the same person. They're consistent. They're consistently good as well. Episode 4 is written by someone else, so it feels like it takes a lot from other things. So you've got the Alan Wake 2 rip-off, and you've got the fact that the final fight on the bikes where they have the joust, you said seemed like it was from another...
I don't remember what I said.
No, okay, you said that seemed like it was from something else. So it looked like it took a lot of ideas, but at least the comedy still landed. But the other 3... Why? Enjoy yourselves. We're sorry that we ended this on a low. It is very different to Fallout, where we started off saying, it was garbage, because, let's be honest, the pilot was. and that show eventually said itself, but it still had a flop for a finale.
Yeah, the problem with Fallout was its finale was nearly just all exposition.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really an episode. It was just, oh, here's all the stuff we probably should have sprinkled throughout. We're going to give to you in one big lump.
It's a monologue almost at the end. The final episode of Fallout's first season wasn't much good either, but it was stronger than the finale for this. And its episodes, because it had more of them as well, from episode 3 to 7 were consistently good. It's gone the other way. We started off hating Fallout and then finding a real
decent show.
Yeah, a decent show that we had a lot of respect for. This, we started off going, they've smashed it out the gate. Like, it's amazing. And then it's just decayed.
Yeah.
Decayed to literal zero.
Yeah, it's garbage. It's a real bad ending.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry everyone. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of VGMP DLC. We will see you next Tuesday for another VGMP DLC, and we'll catch you on Saturday with our latest full-length episode of VGMP, and you can hear a sneak preview of that episode right about now. Today, we are talking about Gerard Butler action movie, Gamer.
Slayers gives the gamer full control of a flesh-and-blood human being in full-scale kill-or-be-killed combat.
The actual cast is obviously where they put the money, because Michael C. Hall is not a cheap buy.
Because this was during the height of Dexter.
Yeah. Gerard Butler was at his height because it was filling 300.
Yep. Terry Crews, Kyra Sedgwick, Milo Ventimiglia,
Keith David,
John Delancey, John Leguizamo,
Luigi from the 1993 Mario movie.
And some good movies as well.
I literally pissed myself.
Oh, sounds like fun.
Gerard Butler, full-on Bane backbreakers this guy like he's fucking Batman. And I was just like, okay, explore that then. Because he's actually just killed an innocent man. But even, I mean, this could be massively improved by A, shooting it better, and B, just in the Slayers bit, just give us some like you said, something to show us who's on whose team would be nice.
Yeah.
Like, just give us some, like, coloured uniforms or something.
Game over, yeah!
Cyberpunk Studios.